Imagine this, a secret rape hidden for years, exposed at a wedding where everyone thought it was all perfect. One woman's fight for justice turns a celebration into chaos and sends a message that shook everyone to their core. Just when you think you know how the story ends, bam, you won't believe what happens next. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Dropping a like and a comment is the least you can do to show some love. And like we always say, even if some stories seem the same, they ain't never the same when I'm the one telling them.
All over her, all the time.
The film opens in a loud, shadowy nightclub where Jerry, Paul, and Jim are drinking with laughter that barely hides something darker. They spot Cassie, a young woman who seems lost in her own haze, too drunk to stand. Paul and Jim throw cruel, sharp words her way like knives, but Jerry feels something else. He decides to help her, stepping into the storm where the others only sneer. Jerry takes Cassie back to his apartment, hoping to protect her, but the room feels heavy, like the air itself is holding its breath. When he leans in to kiss her, Cassie suddenly drops her act. She sits up, eyes piercing like a trap snapping shut. "What are you doing?" she asks, and Jerry's brave mask crumbles to fear. Behind that moment, a dark truth begins to flicker, power twisted with danger, and a night that won't end the way anyone expects. Cassie walks home in the cold morning light, her clothes stained red, but it's not blood, just jelly oozing from the donut she's slowly eating. The world around her feels sharp and cold, like glass ready to cut. A trio of construction workers whistle and shout at her, their voices rough like gravel. But Cassie doesn't flinch or smile. She just stares at them, empty and still, like a ghost lost in a waking nightmare. Her silence is a quiet rebellion, but also a warning, a signal that something inside her has already begun to break. Cassie is about 30 and still lives under the heavy roof of her parents, Stanley and Susan, a cage disguised as a home. Her days drag by in a dull coffee shop, waiting tables with a face that feels like stone, showing no spark for the tired customers or the world beyond. Gail, her only friend, watches quietly, knowing too much sadness hides behind Cassie's cold eyes. Then Ryan, a successful pediatrician from her past, walks in like a ghost from a life she left behind. They trade sharp words, and Cassie spits in his coffee, an act of defiance soaked in bitterness. But Ryan just drinks it anyway and asks her out, chasing a ghost she isn't ready to catch. She gives him a fake number, sealing her distance with a lie that feels like a last thin line between hope and despair. Later, Cassie gets into a car with Neil, a sleazy man pushing a sex novel and a bag of cocaine. He tries to rope her into snorting with him, painting a world where she's just another prize to win. When she says she wants to go home, Neil's mask slips. He wants more, wants to use her weakness. But Cassie flips the script. She tells him she's been sober, and the truth hits him like a punch to the gut. Her calm, cold stare cuts through his lies as she calls him out for preying on a woman he thinks is easy. In that moment, the hunter becomes the hunted. Cassie leaves his apartment, leaving Neil shaken, almost broken, like a man who just saw the darkness he hid inside himself reflected back. For her birthday, Stanley and Susan hand Cassie a pink briefcase, a gift she'd clearly forgotten about. Their smiles don't reach their eyes. The briefcase isn't just a present, it's a silent message, heavy with judgment. Cassie knows exactly what they mean. It's time to leave. Her parents' disappointment wraps around her like a noose, tightening with every unspoken word about her wasted potential and lost dreams. The briefcase feels less like a gift and more like a farewell she's not ready to say. Ryan comes back to the coffee shop, having figured out Cassie gave him a fake number. This time, she lets her guard down and agrees to go out with him. Ryan seems kind, but Cassie keeps him at arm's length, afraid to let anyone inside her broken world. Still, she apologizes and keeps dating him, holding on to something like hope. One day at the coffee shop, Ryan talks about his old friend Al Monroe, who's getting married. That name hits Cassie like a punch to the gut. Al isn't just anyone. He's the man who ruined her best friend Nina at a frat party years ago. Nina was too drunk to fight back, and even though Cassie and Nina told people, almost no one believed them. The silence crushed Nina, pushing her to take her own life. And Cassie? She dropped out of med school, swallowed by guilt and loss. That wound never healed, and Al's wedding feels like a dark shadow creeping closer. Cassie scrolls through social media, watching old classmates flood Al with congratulations on his engagement. One name catches her eye, Madison McPhee. She reaches out and sets up a lunch, a plan simmering beneath her calm words. At lunch, Cassie pushes Madison to drink more and more until her defenses crumble. Then she brings up Al and what happened to Nina, but Madison shrugs it off like dust on a shelf, saying it was long ago and that someone always drunk like Nina had to end up in trouble. Cassie sees Madison's glazed eyes, too drunk to even understand, and walks away. away, paying the bill like a cold final act. Outside, she talks quietly to another man, her stare flicking back to Madison like a hunter watching her prey. The game has only just begun. Cassie goes to a high school and tricks a young girl named Amber by pretending they're heading to a diner for a job with a popular boy band. It's a cold, calculated move, a shadow of what's to come. Then, Cassie visits Dean Elizabeth Walker at her old med school, where hope once lived but now feels like a ghost town. She reminds Walker how she and Nina reported the assault, but Walker had taken Al's side, and worse, seems to have forgotten Nina completely. Cassie's voice turns sharp as she reveals she brought Amber to the very room where Nina was attacked and left her with older boys. Panic flashes across Walker's face as she tries calling Amber, only to find Cassie has the phone, control firmly in her hands. Walker admits her mistake, but Cassie isn't done yet. She reveals Amber is safe at the diner, waiting for the boy band. It's a twisted game of power, and Cassie holds every piece on the board. Cassie's next mark is Jordan Green, a lawyer who helped let Al walk free by pressuring Nina to drop the case. Unlike the others, Jordan is haunted by his guilt. When he meets Cassie, his remorse spills out in tears. Raw and desperate, he breaks down beside her, begging for forgiveness for the pain he helped cause. Cassie watches him fall apart, then quietly offers the mercy he craves. But beneath her calm, a darker plan stirs. After she leaves, Cassie speaks coldly to a hitman, her shadow in this twisted justice, and tells him, "You're no longer needed. The game is changing, and the hunter is becoming the judge." Cassie visits Nina's mother, a fragile woman holding onto memories like a lifeline. They talk quietly about Nina, soft smiles mixed with bitter tears. But Mrs. Fisher sees something darker in Cassie's eyes, a fire that won't die. She warns Cassie that her obsession is eating her alive, that it's time to let go and move on. But Cassie only hears the walls closing in, tightening their grip around a wound that refuses to heal. The past isn't done with her yet. Cassie tries the same cruel game again, this time with Paul, baiting him with the illusion of weakness. As they leave the club, Ryan walks in and catches sight of her. She reaches out, desperate to explain, but Ryan's eyes are cold and closed. He turns away, leaving her words to fall like echoes in an empty room. Later, when she finds him again, something shifts. He forgives her, a fragile truce born from pain, and they share a quiet, trembling kiss. In that moment, hope and despair twist tightly together, like shadows dancing on a cracked mirror. Madison waits on Cassie's porch after days of calls and messages, her worry carved deep into her face. Cassie finally admits nothing happened, just the man taking her to bed, nothing more. Relief softens Madison's eyes, but then she pulls Cassie aside. She confesses she was wrong not to believe Nina and reveals a hidden video. Al raping Nina, caught on tape, buried on an old phone. Madison hands it over with a cold warning, never contact her again. Cassie hesitates but presses play. Horror floods her as the brutal truth unfolds, but the deepest shock hits when she sees Ryan, standing there, silent, watching the nightmare play out. The betrayal cuts sharper than any wound. Cassie storms into Ryan's workplace, the weight of the video burning behind her eyes. She slams the truth onto the table. She knows he was there, silent and complicit. With cold fury, she threatens to send the video to everyone in his contacts, including the parents of his patients, unless he reveals where Al's bachelor party is. Fear flickers across Ryan's face as he realizes the storm Cassie's about to unleash. He gives her the address, but their parting is bitter. Ryan lashes out, calling Cassie a failure instead of owning his guilt. Cassie meets his anger with icy contempt and warns him to keep her arrival a secret. The hunt moves deeper into the shadows, and trust is a ghost long dead. On the night of the bachelor party, Cassie slips into the role of a stripper, her disguise sharp as a blade cutting through the dark. She arrives at the cabin, a den of secrets and sins. She gets the other men drunk and drugged, a slow poison feeding their weakness. Then, with cold calculation, she takes Al to the bedroom, her only promise to get paid. She cuffs him to the bedpost, a prisoner of his past. When she confronts him with Nina's name and the damning video, panic twists his face. His defenses crumble. We were kids. Everyone was drunk. Empty echoes in a chamber of guilt. Cassie's rage ignites, and with a scalpel she tries to carve Nina's name into his flesh. But Al breaks free with brutal force, silencing her forever beneath a suffocating pillow. As Cassie's life fades, fear crashes down on Al like a tidal wave, alone with the weight of what he's done, the monster he's become. Death doesn't bring peace. It brings the darkest kind of reckoning. The morning after, Joe, Al's friend, climbs the stairs and finds Al crumpled on the floor. tears spilling over Cassie's lifeless body. Joe tries to soothe him, whispering it wasn't his fault, but Al's voice cracks with guilt. He knows it was, and he's terrified of losing his fiancée and everything he holds dear. Joe, cold and calculating, promises to help cover it all up. They agree to bury the nightmare under a pile of logs, then set it ablaze, a pyre for Cassie's final silence. Joe watches the flames flicker with calm detachment while Al's stomach churns with dread. The fire consumes more than wood. It tries to burn away their sins, but the darkness inside won't fade so easily. Days pass, and Cassie's parents, drowning in worry, finally report her missing. The lead detective shows up at Ryan's office, eyes sharp. He knows Ryan and Cassie were close. Ryan's calm cracks under pressure. He quickly spins a story that Cassie might have hurt herself, a secret he never saw coming. Desperation colors his words, trying to shield himself from the growing storm, but the shadows around Cassie's disappearance are closing in tighter every moment. It's Al's wedding day, a celebration cloaked in false joy and hidden sins. After the ceremony, Green receives a thick envelope from Cassie, marked with a chilling message meant for if she ever disappeared. Suddenly, phones everywhere buzz. Ryan and all the guests get the horrifying video of Al raping Nina. Cassie's pre-written texts flood Ryan's screen. "You didn't think this was the end, did you? It is now. Enjoy the wedding." Police swarm the scene, and soon they uncover Cassie's remains buried nearby. The Nina half of their friendship necklace clutched in her hand, while Gail holds the other. Al is handcuffed before the stunned crowd, his world crashing down, while Joe slips away in the chaos. Ryan's phone lights up one last time. Love, Cassie, and Nina. A haunting signature that seals the dark reckoning Cassie engineered. What would you do if you uncovered a dark secret at the biggest moment of someone's life, a wedding, and your fight for justice put everything at risk? Would you stand strong no matter what, or back down to keep yourself safe? Drop a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I want to hear how you'd handle this intense battle for truth.